Hi guys, for this week's discussion, we're talking about graphic novels, and I am someone who read a lot of graphic novels when I was younger, and I don't tend to read them as much, but when I was younger and first starting to read, I ended up reading a lot of them. And so for question number one, it asks, after the video and the reading, do you think graphic novels count as real novels? And I would say yes, because novels are not just some written words on a page. It's about talking about going through the story and the plot and being part of the experience. And I feel like graphic novels do a really good job doing that because they have the visual element of the pictures, and often the pictures go with what the plot is describing, so it's a lot easier to understand and interpret. So I would say yes, they are definitely real novels. What makes them different or maybe even better is I would say traditional novels tend to be kind of boring for kids to read. As a kid, I didn't like reading straight up novels. Like anytime it was like a chapter book, I felt like it was more of a chore and not something I wanted to actually do. And when we started getting older, I started liking chapter books. But as a kid, you have a very short attention span. You want to interact with it. You want to be a part of the story. So if it's just like written words and it's just chapter after chapter, you can often feel very bored. And I would say that traditional novels don't have a lot of pictures, they don't have words. I feel like the formatting was also quite difficult to read as a kid because a chapter book just has like that format where it's just like paragraph, paragraph, paragraph versus like an actual book graphic novel where you've got like a little excerpt right here and then you've got like images, or you've got images throughout the page depending on what graphic novel you're reading. And I think that that type of format is a lot easier for kids to read. And as a kid, when you find something you can actually read and enjoy, you are more, you would want to read it more because it's not something that's going to confuse you, and you're going to understand it better. So I feel like graphic novels can also really motivate children to keep their attention span on it, as kids who are more reluctant in reading or don't enjoy chapter books and they want to be part of the book and they want to experience it, but they don't want to read an entire novel. Question number three is, do I personally connect with graphic novels? And as a kid, I used to read this graphic novel called Diary of the Wimpy Kid, and they had like a whole bunch of different types of novels that I read. I pretty much read all of them, and they're about a kid going through high school and just the struggles, and they'd have like the fun little pictures and images, and you'd have this little like stick figure that went through things, and it just kept me engaged as a kid. I actually wanted to read it. Like it was actually something that didn't feel like a chore to read, and it was a lot easier to read as a child. And I remember that reading, I do love reading now, and I would love to read any type of book now, but when I was younger, I often didn't feel that way, and I felt like reading was just something that teachers made you do or your parents made you do, and it wasn't something that was like, oh, I can't wait to go read. But when I learned about graphic novels, and I also read Dear Dumb Diary, Diary of a Kid, I actually enjoyed reading because it was something that kept me interacting, and it motivated me to read because it was something I could read. And I think the pictures and the formatting definitely helped as a child, and I definitely have a great appreciation for graphic novels now. So